Welcome to Wheels Up with Sunrise on Wheels. I'm Michelle Newman. Today's program has 3 segments. First, I'll take you on a trip to visit some fantastic experiences I've had around the world. Next, we'll craft with Caroline, making a hot air balloon and a toucan. Last but not least is our fun trivia game. I hope you'll play along.
Today, let's travel the world and visit places that make me so very happy. Let's start in New Zealand on the North Island. I was there just a year or so ago, and I visited this phenomenal cave of glowworms. Let's take a peek and see if you find this as awesome as I did. Let's don our helmets and grab our flashlights for a tour into Waitomo Cave, possibly the best place to spot glowworms in the world. These caves were discovered in the late 19th century by a local Maori chief. They were opened shortly thereafter, and today the workers are descendants of the original founders of the caves. We venture 150 feet underground into 30-million-year-old limestone caves. Along the wall and ceilings, a fungus gnat egg hatches. The glowworm, not a worm at all, but a larva. It constructs a tube of mucus, snot, and waste, gross, and coughs up dozens of silk strings, which dangle from the bottom of the tube. Tiny droplets collect on the silks, and to attract its victim, the glowworm illuminates its net of reflective drops by turning on its bioluminescent tail and lowering its sticky threads down to fish for its prey, usually mayflies, which get stuck on its line. After venturing along the pass, we'll descend far enough to reach the water. Sitting in an engine-free boat, we glide silently, cruising through the cave. The water reflects the sparkle of the glowworms, and above is a multitude of glowworm-like stars in the sky. They seem limitless and oh so sparkly. What do you think? Isn't this amazing? Next, let's travel to Sydney, Australia, a vast country with so much to see and do. One of our most adventurous experiences was to climb the Sydney Bridge. I was a little nervous, but it was amazing. Come along and let's climb the Sydney Bridge together. We have to first put on a bridge suit to prevent anything from falling off, wear headphones and a microphone to hear and talk to our guide, and wear a safety harness to keep us safe. We're attached to the bridge via a cable that runs along the side. You don't need to be a strong athlete. Mostly we just walk up steps, with a few ramps and narrow catwalks. It begins a little steep as you ascend to the summit, supposedly 1,002 steps, but I lost count. At the top, the distance to the water is 440 feet. It's like being on the roof of a 40-floor building. Yikes! But it's worth it to get a 360-degree view of Sydney Harbor. My husband, son, and I had a great time. What do you think? Now let's travel to Anatara's Golden Triangle Elephant Camp and Resort, a beautiful spot set among the rice paddies and tea plantations of far north Chiang Rai province in Thailand. It's much more than just a 5-star resort. It serves as home for 22 elephants, mahots, and their families rescued from the street or elephant shows. Elephants aren't easy to keep as they eat 450 pounds of food a day, mostly bananas, vegetables, and grasses. Our encounter with these wonderful giants begins at breakfast. Doesn't it look like fun to feed a 4-year-old elephant? Next, we help give the elephants a bath. They really enjoy the water. But then it gets even better. We make our way down to camp, where elephants are relaxing in a series of open-air canopied stables. One by one, the giant creatures amble towards us, and soon we scramble our ways on. It's not easy or graceful. You climb up using her leg and then hoist yourself up holding onto her ears. Perch directly on top of her wide shoulders, forcing my legs into a straddle behind her ears. It's an unworldly experience. While her skin looks soft from a distance, it's much coarser up close, covered in inch-long bristles. There isn't much to hold on to, but hold you do. Her gait, which at first gives the appearance of smooth, feels a lot more wobbly when you're sitting up so high. She alternates between being playful and cooperative to being quite headstrong. Before long, I find myself half submerged in the Mekong River, the border that separates Laos from Thailand and Myanmar, sitting atop a big-eared 3-ton elephant. At one point, she takes a deep drink and sprays water and mud, completely drenching me from head to toe. They say it's a sign that she likes me. I don't know about that, but it was hilarious. It was an amazing experience. What do you think? Would you give it a try? Now off to Alaska, a mind-blowing area with so many wonderful and fun things to do. From taking a train to retrace the steps of the intrepid Klondike gold rushers, to witnessing towering glaciers up close and see large sections of ice breaking off and falling into the sea. This is known as calving. But today, let's take a helicopter ride where we will see majestic glaciers, hopefully some wildlife, some soaring pine-covered mountains, amazing snow-capped scenery. Alaska is gorgeous from the ground, but from the air it is breathtaking. Before long, we land right on the middle of a glacier. Walking and exploring the thousands of years old ice is simply amazing. Looking at those blue melt pools, crevices, and bizarre ice formations created by water, wind, and the sun is a sight you will never forget. So what do you think of this little taste of Alaska? Doesn't it make you happy? Now on to my home, New York City. Today let's visit Spyscape. Not an ordinary run-of-the-mill museum, it's an interactive experience. Not only will you learn about famous spies and tinker with gadgets, you'll have a chance to crack codes and dodge lasers like your life depends on it. In fact, competing these spy challenges will determine which of the 10 spy roles you're best suited to, from intelligence agents or, like I am, an agent handler. There are 15 stations with interesting games, everything from mini IQ tests to personality questions. Deception is a fun game where you watch interviews in a booth and try to decide who is lying. Encryption is a light-up board where you have to try to unscramble coded words. Special Ops is super fun laser game where you have to push buttons that light up while avoiding the lasers. It's timed and you are videotaped. Surveillance takes place in a large room with multiple camera angles. You pick up a telephone and it asks you to look for certain people and objects, and you have to identify the camera, A through D, and the numbered panels. It's harder than it looks. The museum is a lot of fun, and if you ever get a chance to try it out, I highly recommend it. It was actually developed by top psychologists and a former head of training at British intelligence. Well, it makes me happy. What about you? Next, we're off to South America to see a series of waterfalls so massive they straddle the border of Argentina and Brazil. I think you'll be astonished by the impressive and imposing Iguazu waterfalls. Depending on when you visit, there are between 150 to 300 separate waterfalls at the site, pouring water over a drop of 200 to 300 feet. After a short train ride, we begin on a long walkway along metal platforms over the river. Quiet and tranquil, but just wait. Soon before you is Devil's Throat, a U-shaped chasm where 14 falls drop to more than 350 feet. A lot of mist and spray. It feels almost like you're in the water. Lots of movies have been shot here, and Indiana Jones, Country Bears Down Under, Mr. Magoo, and Black Panther, to name a few. Do you recognize it? Look, there's a Cody. It's a member of the raccoon family, and they're all over Iguazu Falls. Don't touch them, though, because they can bite. Next, let's walk down the lower trails, giving us miles of panoramic views of the falls with several lookouts where we can get up close and personal to the waterfalls. There's a black cochin monkey. I think it stole that lady's orange. They're very social and considered to be one of the smartest monkeys in the world. When visiting waterfalls, be sure to look out for rainbows, because you might get lucky enough to spot one. Ooh, look, spectacular toucans. So what do you think? Isn't Iguazu Falls magical? Now let's head over to Capetown, South Africa to see Boulder Beach. This African beach is home to thousands of rare penguins known for their annoying voice. South African penguins are very social animals, and like all penguins, communication is essential for recognition of families and couples. They emit a unique sound that is usually accompanied by intensive gesturing. One of the only remaining homes to the rare African penguin, the Boulders Beach Penguin Colony allows visitors to get close and even swim with the strange, prehistoric birds that seem right at home despite their generally Arctic reputation. Home to over 2,000 endangered African penguins, it is one of the very few mainland penguin colonies in the world. What do you think? Aren't they adorable? Now we're off to Italy, where a magic sea cave comes to life when sunlight passes through an underwater cavity, illuminating the cavern a stunning blue. The Blue Grotto is one of Capri's most fascinating natural wonders. Inside the cave, the water is impossibly blue thanks to light passing through it, causing it to glow. The natural sea cave's opening is very narrow, which means we must lay on our backs in small rowboats as the skipper guides us into the cave. Also known as Grotta Azzurra, the Blue Grotto was once the private swimming pool of Emperor Tiberius, who moved the capital of the Roman Empire to the island of Capri in 27 AD. Thereafter, the grotto was forgotten and discovered again in 1826 by a German poet who wrote about the magical cave, and word spread. Everyone wanted to find and see the cave that glowed for themselves, making it a hot tourist attraction. It hasn't changed much, as beautifully described by American writer Mark Twain. The waters of this placid subterranean lake are the brightest and loveliest blue that can be imagined. They are as transparent as plate glass, and their coloring would shame the richest sky that ever bent over Italy. I couldn't have said it any better. What do you think of this amazing natural marvel? Now we're off to Denmark. Tivoli Gardens, located in the center of Copenhagen, opened in 1843 and is one of the oldest amusement parks in the world. It has lots of fun rides, elaborate parades, fanciful fountains, leg-dangling roller coasters, a resident symphony orchestra, delicious restaurants, and many live performances, marching bands, and one of the oldest roller coaster in the world that's still in use. In 1964, the Beatles played at Tivoli. Michael Jackson offered to buy it. Walt Disney once described the park as happy with an unbuttoned air, and he borrowed heavily from its whimsy for Disneyland. Disney even told his wife, "Now this is what an amusement place should be." But Tivoli is more than an amusement park with rides, but is also full of cozy gardens and fountains and amazing live performances. Day or night, it's sure to make you happy. What do you think? Well, it's time for our journey to some of my favorite happy experiences around the world to come to an end. Which was your favorite? Glowworms in New Zealand? Climbing the Sydney Bridge? Playing with elephants in Thailand? Helicoptering in Alaska? The Spyscape in New York City? Looking at Iguazu waterfalls in South America? Visiting South African penguins? Looking at that glowing blue grotto in Italy? Or the charming Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen? I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.
Hi, my name is Caroline, and I'm so excited to do another craft with you today. Today's theme was Don't Worry, Be Happy, and we're doing 2 crafts that make people really happy. The first one is a hot air balloon. In the video, you visited Tivoli Gardens, and there's a Ferris wheel there, and all the seats are hot air balloons. The next thing is a toucan craft, and that is because in the video there are many toucans and they make people really happy. I hope you have fun doing these crafts with me. First, we're going to make this hot air balloon craft. So what you will need is 3 different colors of paper for the actual hot air balloon, and I'm using pink, yellow, and orange. And then you need a color for the background, and I'm using blue because it's for the sky. white paper for your clouds and a color for your basket, and I'm using brown. You'll also need scissors, glue, some yarn, and for the clouds you can either use white paper or a cotton ball. This is what the cotton ball would look like, and then you can cut out some clouds too. So first you're going to take the 3 pieces of paper that you want for your hot air balloon, and you're going to line them up so that they're all on top of each other. And then on the top piece of paper, we're going to draw our hot air balloon shape. So to do that, first you're going to start on the very bottom of the paper so that you can use the scrap pieces for other projects. And first we're just going to draw a straight line up and then curve it a little bit, like that, on both sides. And then we're going to connect them with a big circle on top. So it should look like that. Then make sure to line your paper up again, because as you can see I moved mine a little bit. And we're going to cut all of them at the same time. And this is going to be for our hot air balloon. And it's a little bit easier to just draw it out before you cut it so that you have somewhere to cut around. Okay, so this is what it should look like. So now we're going to fold each piece of paper in half. And you can't do these all at the same time because then it won't work. So make sure to fold it in half, like that, and do that for all of the pieces of paper. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take one piece of paper and we're going to take our glue and we're going to put glue all over it. And then we're going to take another one and we're going to stick it on top of that. And then again, so put glue all over it again. And then stick that on top. So then you have a pile of all of your papers. Then we're going to take our background color and we're going to put our hot air balloon wherever you want to put it. So I'm going to put it in about the middle, and I'm just going to glue on one side and then stick it to the paper like that. And then we're going to do it to the other side. So fold it over and then glue it and then stick it back down. So now you have the hot air balloon. So the next step is we're going to put our yarn on. So I have some gray yarn, but it can be any color you want. And we're just going to cut very little pieces. About that size. So make sure to cut out 2 different pieces of yarn. And now we're going to glue them on under the hot air balloon, one here and one right there. So put the glue down and then you can stick them right on. Like that. And now we're going to make our bag at the bottom of the hot air balloon. So I'm using some brown paper and I'm just going to cut out a little square. Like that. And now I'm going to glue it on underneath the yarn. Like that. Now we're going to make the clouds because our hot air balloon is in the sky. So now I'm going to take my white paper and I'm going to draw out some clouds. And they can be all different sizes. all different shapes and sizes. Some can be smaller, some can be bigger. And also when you glue them on, you can overlap on the hot air balloon. So as you can see, some of mine go underneath the hot air balloon, but that makes it more realistic. So now I'm just gonna cut out my clouds. And if you don't want to, you don't have to draw out your clouds first, but I'm just going to because it's a little bit easier for me. So now I have all 3 of my clouds cut out, and you can also make more clouds or less clouds, however you want to do it. So now I'm just going to glue on my clouds all over my hot air balloon. And before I said that you can put your clouds on so that it looks like they're behind the hot air balloon. So if you want to do that, make sure that you put on your clouds before you put on your hot air balloon. So this time, since I put on my hot air balloon before my clouds, I'm just going to make them look like they're in the background. So this is how my hot air balloon craft turned out. So now we're going to make the toucan craft. So what you will need is, I'm using blue paper for its body, but you can use any color you want, and you also need white paper. You also need a pencil to draw out the shapes, and I'm using paint sticks for its beak, but you can also use regular paint, or you can use watercolor or crayons or markers. Any of those are good. And then you also need glue and scissors. So first we're going to draw out the toucan's body. So what you need is, I'm using a black marker so that you can see it a little bit better, but you can use a pencil so that you can erase it if you make a mistake. So what you're going to do is, first we're going to draw our toucan's body, and then we're going to draw the wing. So first what you're going to do is you're going to draw a big rounded shape like that. It's almost like a backward C. And then we're going to go back up like that. And now we're going to draw its wing like this. And now we're going to draw a straight line and then back up like that. And then we're going to draw another straight line and then connect the other line that you drew before. So it should look like that. Now we're going to cut this shape out, and then we're going to cut out the toucan's beak. So now I'm almost done cutting out my toucan's body. So this is what it should look like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out our toucan's beak. So I'm using the white paper because I'm just going to go over it with my paint sticks. And first I'm going to draw it so that it's a little bit easier to cut out. So first what we're going to do is we're going to draw a big curved shape like that. And then we're going to go back down and then up again and then connect it like that. So it should be pointed at the end and round over there. So now I'm cutting out my beak. So then this is what it should look like. So now I'm going to glue the beak onto its body. So make sure that most of the beak is coming off of the body because that's what makes toucan so funny. So now this is what my toucan looks like, and now I'm going to draw on its eye. So I'm using a black marker, and you can also use a crayon or anything you want, and now it looks like that. So now I'm going to draw on the beak. So I'm using paint sticks, and I'm going to use all different colors to make it really colorful, but you can use any colors you want. And also, you don't have to use paint sticks. You can use crayons or markers or anything you have is good. So now I'm going to go all the way across my beak and just color it. So now I'm done with my beak, and as you can see, it looks really colorful. I hope these crafts made you feel happy. Bye!
Welcome to Happy Places Trivia. 10 questions, 4 answers, only one of which is correct. I hope you'll play along.
In which country are the Watoma glowworm caves located? A, Australia, B, New Zealand, C, the United States, or D, none of the above? They are cool and slimy looking. I didn't know about it until I was there recently.
They're very cool.
And the answer is New Zealand. Question number 2. African penguins are known for what? Their love of cold water,
their distinctive color, their solitary nature, or their distinctive honking noise. This is only for African penguins. What's special about them?
Right. Those were cool.
4, 3, 2, 1. And you can even swim with them. I didn't, but their distinctive honking noise. Question number 3. What does an elephant feel like? Smooth and silky, hairy and bristly, like a rock, or slimy? This one's kind of hard, but I definitely talk about these
You made reference to it.
Yes, they are really hairy and bristly.
It's not what you would think, right? If you see
it really surprised me, I must say. Question number 4. New York City's Spyscape is what? Is it a bridge, a monument, an interactive museum, or a playground? I really love this place. I tried to pick something different in New York.
Yeah.
And their answers, please. It is an interactive museum. It is really cool.
It was. I went there. I took all my nephews are grown, college, whatever, but we had fun. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Question number 5. Where would you find the Blue Grotto? Alaska, Copenhagen, Denmark, Capri, Italy, or Sydney, Australia? Where did you find the Blue Grotto? It is cool, even though it's kind of smelly. The answer is Capri, Italy. Have any of you been?
I have.
It's
beautiful. So
Isn't it beautiful? The
scary when you go in the boat, though, right?
Question number 6. Iguazu Falls is made up of how many waterfalls? 1, 5, 50, or between 150 and 300? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is 150 to 300. Have any of you been there?
No. It was beautiful.
Question number 7. How are you secured on the Sydney Bridge climb? With a cable and safety harness, with a string around your waist, with a rope around your wrist, or you're not secured at all? It was a little scary, but it was pretty much fun.
I don't know if I could handle that. It looked cool to see it on, to see it in the video, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yep. You're secured with a cable and a safety harness. You really do just kind of walk up steps. So it's not quite as scary as you would think.
It looks scary.
Don't look down.
Exactly. Question number 8. What distinctive color do you see on a glacier? A, blue, B, green, C, red, or D, yellow? What color do you see? Of course, you see white and black, but what other color? What's the color of the water? It's blue. It is such an amazing blue. Question number 9. Which of these people visited Tivoli Gardens? A, the Beatles, B, Michael Jackson, C, Walt Disney, or D, all of the above? Who visited Tivoli Gardens? I definitely talked about this in my movie.
You did.
And the answer is all of the above. Question number 10. How many pounds of food a day does an elephant eat? A, 10, B, 100, C, 450, or D, 1,000?
But I don't remember.
They will guess. And the answer is 450. What happened in our leaderboard?
Sherry,
we are the winner.
We're tied.
That's the first time I've won.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Janet and Sherry. I hope you enjoyed and played along.